Jay Cooley with the Stoolie, and we're back from our hiatus and we're doing something new. Uncanny X Men #1. Let's get into it. So we start off with Dr. Ellis pulling up to the Xavier school, and we find that she is in the Cerebro room and has a prisoner inside of it. But before we find out who it is, we see Logan, Wolverine, and Rogue. Logan just himself tending to an old man, and then we see a dragon, and Logan is with Gambit and Rogue, but the dragon attacks, but it takes them down. But with teamwork, they win. They actually, go after what was in the dragon, and we find the dragon even talks, and we see Wolverine has a bottle like always, but Cyclops calls them, and we see Fawn getting attacked by this uh, getting attacked by whoever. And this is actually Fawn's first appearance in Marvel Comics. And then we see Nightcrawler at a hospital, and Rogue is randomly crying. And then we get them in Louisiana, and even Rogue starts drinking. And Gambit's just comforting her, but suddenly they're met by the kids. But now to issue 2, well, they're met by these kids. So we open up with the times from the journal of Charles Xavier, and we find out that the kids from the last issue are actually the outliers, and they hold their own, like, they really do. Some wicked stuff happens, and then back to Dr. Ellis, and I'm actually starting to think Xavier was the prisoner, but it's actually Siren, who's originally a Spider-Man ally, but I'm not sure if the outliers are mutants because they seem like cosmic babies, if you could say. But Jubilee kind of stops the conflict, and I got no clue how Rogue is kissing Gambit, but we find Jitter, Ransom, Death Dream are mutants. Those are the outliers, but not Kaliko. Honestly, she seems like the coolest one. And then we see Fawn again. But then we head to issue 3, where so I kind of was right about Xavier, but we get Rogue and Wolverine talking, and a man, can this dude drink early in the morning, and it's wild. But Logan is leaving the facility, and he doesn't want to bring harm to those kids. So Nightcrawler takes his place, kind of. So we get a backstory and of Jitter, and her powers are similar to Nightcrawler. And then we get all their stories kind of in Death Dream. He has the worst. Like, his powers are like cloaks, if you know Cloak and Dagger. And then we see Wolverine in the forest, and he's getting beat up by Fawn from earlier, like really freaking bad, like getting beat up. And what can I say? He lost his fight. But now to issue #4, where we pick up with more of the memories of Xavier and how he expresses he's not ready for a child to that woman. And then Rogue, we see that she saves Nightcrawler, and I almost said Nightwing, and they go where Wolverine is, and he's honestly mauled, honestly. And they can't really think of what could do this to Wolverine. Rogue gets attacked, and it's fun. And Fawn gets the advantage, but with Rogue's powers of absorbing your powers, she kind of gets the upper hand, but Fawn starts just winning the fight. And yeah, then we get Fawn's backstory, and the talk no jutsu of Rogue just doesn't work. And yeah, then we see Fawn is just beast, and the outliers with Symbol, and yeah, so does Wolverine with no freaking eyes. Dude, no eyes. That was freaking crazy, I'm not gonna lie. But now to issue 5. So we get 6 months ago, and we get Rogue. Well, we get like a back, you know, back thing, backstory or back memory from 6 months ago, and then we get Rogue just beaten. And Fawn has honestly dominated the X Men. These X Men, but she's met by the outliers and the other Uncanny X Men, and They all go at Fawn together, but Rogue is met by this kid Harvey. But Wolverine is taking out Fawn's forces, and we see that Kaliko just like does some juggernaut power stuff. I guess she can like copy people's powers or do something like that. And she eliminates more forces from Fawn. And then we see Harvey do amazing things, but it's not really like, I guess they're past things that he did, but it's not really, it doesn't really help them in the story. But I think this eye is the eye of Agamotto, but Gambit uses it and Rogue kicks Fawn, and Fawn's just ultimately defeated. And then Rogue threatens to off Dr. Ellis if Fawn is like, her fault. But now to issue 6, so we get Kaliko flashback, a flashback of her life, and man, they comment how she looks like Sabretooth. So I hope she's like Sabretooth's daughter. That'd be like really cool. Like, because, he's lived like a long life like Wolverine. But, she's mad and even like takes it out on Wolverine, which is kind of ironic. Until Rogue just, takes command and then Gambit talks to her. And, Gambit is just very relatable. And even though she's not a mutant, she starts to like identify herself as a mutant. And she even goes to school, and then Nightcrawler and Jubilee go to the store. Nightcrawler saves a girl from getting ran over, and then we see Wolverine. Don't, he just keeps drinking. But at the store comes Blob and company, and Blob is an original X-Men villain, if you didn't know, like way back Stan Lee days. And yeah, we also see like, Kaliko beating up the school kids. But now to issue number 7. So we get Rogue calling Cyclops, and I'm sure this isn't the Eye of Agamotto anymore, but Gambit uses it to teleport them. But we see Dr. Ellis has 2 outliers prisoner. Well, 1 outlier and Jubilee. Then we see Omega Kid and Majik, who are X-Men allies, and they even get Cyclops even gets Juggernaut's help. But we see the Uncanny X Men who are trying to save Jubilee, but then we see Blob attacks Cyclops, but Rogue takes him out. And if you don't know Omega Kid from earlier, he can beat Jean Grey and Storm, so he's OP. And then we get the X Men versus the Uncanny X Men, and the Uncanny X Men, mm, the, they're all right. But then we see Beast saves Jubilee, and then we see Death Dream versus Majik. We really don't get to see it, but it's a little sneak peek. And then we see Juggernaut just come up out of nowhere, and the Blobbing Gang pull up. But now to issue 8, the last issue. So we pick up with a radio show, and I don't really know what that has to do with anything. But then we get Juggernaut going to work, dude. I'm telling you, like, seriously. But both teams are getting beat up by this new villain, Scurvy. And Rogue starts beating up Cyclops, and then they decide to team up. And then both teams, they kind of just express how they miss each other in their own ways. And then in the astral plane, we get Xavier is actually here. And if you don't know the astral plane, it's like people fighting like through their minds. So Xavier's fighting Scurvy like in a mind to mind like dimension. And all the X-Men are just ambushed, and Scurvy is beating Charles, and all the X-Men are taken under arrest by Dr. Ellis. But we get the reveal of Inmate X, who is actually a mystery. And yeah, that is the end of Uncanny X Men issues 1 through 8. Guys, I've been through a hiatus because it's just been a really tough 3 weeks, and I've just had a lot of work to do with like work and stuff like that. And I'm really gonna get back to posting these videos because I really appreciated the love that y'all were giving me through these videos just by just viewing them, commenting on them, and all that stuff. And yeah, I could not be more appreciative. And plus, like, I just released like my 1000th video. So, like, that's 1,000 videos, man. Like, I'm really tired, like extremely tired, but I'm not too tired enough to stop doing this for you guys, and I want you guys to understand that. So that's why I'm also giving back to you guys, like trying to do Marvel videos and just branching out more than just DC. So doing this Marvel video means a lot, and you know, I just want to thank everybody that's been here through my journey, if that makes sense. Just everybody that's been here throughout everything, throughout all the ups and downs of this channel, because we have had ups and downs. We actually just recently, the Wonder Woman video actually reached like 6,000 views, and like that's the most I've had since like my short that had like, it had like 5-figure views. I don't remember how much it was, but it was a lot. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for listening to the video, listening to me rant about loving you guys. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought of the comic, and I'm out. Deuces.